Okay. All right. So
Okay.
what do we want to do here now? We want to undo the user click. Oh, not click. We want to undo the inputs. And what do I mean by inputs? Whatever the content that the user is typing inside this box, we want to display it here. But how do you get the value that they are typing? Not the when they are done typing, because there are different modes that you can listen for. Is it when they are done typing, that's where you want to get the value? Or as they are typing, you want to be getting what the user is typing inside. Just like the way it is now on the online there, when you are typing in some box there, you'll be seeing it another place. As you're typing, is appearing. I've shown you this thing last week there. So, but we want to do that same thing here. But what can you use here? So we need to listen for the events, and we have different type of events that you can listen for on your input. The major one that I want to work on here is the input event. Apart from this input event, we have this change event. Now I told you that you can listen for your keyboard event too. So we have the key up, which means you press your key and it's now coming back up. That's when you need to fire this one. We have key down, which means when you press your key, you know it to go down first. So as the key go down, it will fire the event. But you know when your key goes down, it have to come back up when you release it. So when the thing is coming back up, that's when you need to fire this one. It will fire this one when you hold the key like you are pressing it down. Like if the button is going down, it will fire this event. As the button is coming up, it will fire this event. And for this one, it doesn't care whether it's going up or it's coming down. It will always fire as long as your hand is on the key that you have on your keyboard here. So whether you press the key down or it's coming up, this one will always fire. So this one is useful when you need to listen for whether they've pressed it down or it's coming up. If it's only the one that is coming up that you need, you can use this key up. So which means it will get fired when the user release the key. But when they press the key, but when it's going down, this one will fire. I will put all this in practice. You see each one of them in action there. So we start with this input, moving to this change, this key up, key down, and key press. And all this one here, they are referred to as the keyboard event, because before you can see these events, you need to interact with a keyboard. But that's the only time they will get fired. Is when you are interacting with keyboard, that's when you see them. But the same thing here too. But this one, this input is just combining all these things together. But the advantage of this input is that you always get the updated value that you are typing from this box. So let me put all of them in practice, and you can see how they work are there. But don't forget, there are steps you need to follow. The first steps that you need to have there, or let me say step one, you need to target your elements. So we need to target our elements. So which are the elements that we want to work with? Which element do you want to work with? So we want to work with this box and we want to work with this input. And since we want to work with the two of them, we need to target them. So I'm going to call this box here as a result. So I'm calling it this variable result, and inside it, I will have this document.query selector. Let me expand this in so that you can see everything together. So let me go inside HTML and see what I can use to target it. Okay, I just have H2 inside application 2. So let me use that to target the element. So inside this place, so let me increase the screen again. Where is it? I hope you can see. This thing is clear.
Yes, I have. Looking at this.
Okay. So, all right. So I have the document. So we have application 2, and inside it, I have H2. So I'm using this selector to target this particular element there, because that's where we're going to be putting the result. So inside application 2, I'm selecting H2 because that's the only one I have there. And if you don't want to use that, what you can just do here, give it a class directly, maybe like results, and you use that one to target it. So you don't need to start using complex selector if you don't want. So there, just target it with that particular class. So which other thing do we need to target? We need to target this our input because it's the one that is going to fire the event. And since the one that is going to fire the event, you need to listen for that event on this element. And how do you listen for the event? You know, you need to have access to this element from JavaScript. So yeah, I'm going to give the class too. so that I can select it easily. So I'm just going to give it let me just give it is in like that. So and from there, from this JS, so const inputs element like this should just be document, then query selector. What am I selecting? Look for any element with this
In.
class in. Now we have access to the two elements. And in order for us to confirm that we have access to them, so we can console log them out. And if you are seeing them on the console, then that means everything is successful. But you know, if you are now seeing null, just know once you see null, it means your selector is not working. But if you see the element in the console, then that means everything is working. So as you can see, we have access to the H2 and we have access to the input. So which means from JavaScript now, we can attach events to this our element. So let me increase this one too. Let me expand this one and increase this one like that. So we have this element. Let me increase what we have here too, like this. So as you can see, we have access. So what is the next step? The next step now is for us to add event listener. The first step is to target your elements that you want to manipulate. So we are done with that. The next step, which is the step 2, is to add event listener. So the next step is to add event listener. And which element do we need to add event on? Is only this input. Because we are not adding any event to this result. His own job is just what we need to do with it is just to update what is inside it based on what you are typing from here. So how do we add events? You know how to do this thing. So you have your element. Then from there you have this add event listener. So this event listener, the first thing you pass it to it is the event that you want to listen for. And the next thing you are going to pass into it is a callback, which is the function that you want to run or you want JavaScript to call when the events occurred are there. So let me comment out this one again and duplicate it down here and bring it back. So what do we need? We need events. So what are the events that we want to listen for? These are the events, different events that you can listen for here on your inputs. So we have the input events, we have the change event, we have the key up event, we have the key down event, we have this key press event. If you want to, you can listen for click. Oh, that means anytime you click on the input, it's going to do something for you, but it's not making sense because you don't need to click input. What you want to do there is to get the content that is inside. But if you know that you want to do something when you click on the input, you can listen for the click event too, if you need that. But most of the time, you don't use click on input because what do you want to do? What you are saying you want to do there is that anytime you click on it like this, you want something to happen. So you can actually do that. Maybe when you click on it here, you want to change the color of this box to blue. And once you leave, then the color will go back to whatever it used to be before. So you can do that one with click. But that's another event you can actually listen for apart from click, which is going to be focus. So on your inputs, you can listen for the focus. And what is focus? You know that focus means your elements here now, you are interacting with it without dealing with every other element on the page. So this element now is focus. And once you leave it, this is blur. Blur means that the element receive a focus and you now remove that focus. How is the element going to receive focus? Once you click on the element, as you can see, it's going to show this blink stuff. So which means you are kind of interacting with this element. So you are focusing on that element. And once you leave, then this is what we call blur. Blur, element have focus and you now remove that focus. That's what we call blur. So blur element is not receiving focus. But if you want to focus the element, then you can click on it and you can do it from JavaScript too. And you can listen for this event. That means anytime this input is focused on, you want to do something. For example, here now, what I want to do is that anytime this thing is focused, I want to run something, which is a function. And I've already told you, here you can pass the keyword function or you can pass arrow. But I always love to use arrow because it's short and you can quickly work on it. And what did I want to do? What I want to do here is just to console log out Abdul Rakib here. So anytime this element receives focus or anytime I click on it, I want this thing to happen there. Can you see now? Abdurraqib is coming out, but it will only come outside when you focus on the element. Can you see now? Nothing is happening because we are not focused on the input. So in order for it to occur, then you have to focus. Now, can you see Abdurraqib is coming out? So if I leave, I'm not focusing on the input again. In order for you to focus on it, you have to come back and click. Can you see now? It said you focus again, leave, come back. You see that it's now 3. So if you want to do something when your input is focused, then you can listen for this focus event. So anytime the stuff is focused, you want to do something. Again, too, anytime it is blur, what is blur? Blur means that your input receive a focus and you now remove that focus. So that is blur. So right now the input is focused, but I now remove the focus, that is blur. So it's going to fire. So that's the only time it's going to call it. So when you want this thing to get called, when you remove a focus from your input, you can listen for this blur. So both of them work hand in hand, blur and focus. Focus means that you are inside the input. Blur means that you remove the focus from the input. And how do you remove the focus? Just by clicking anywhere outside of the input and it will remove the focus. So if I click on it, as you can see, nothing is happening because you are not listening for that focus again. The only thing you are listening for is when it is blur. And now it's going to be blur, you need to remove this focus. Once you remove the focus, it will fire the blur. And how do you remove it? Just click anywhere outside of that input. It will remove the focus. And as you can see, it fired the event. If it is focused, it will not fire. But if you remove the focus, it will fire the event. So we have different events that you can listen for. And you can listen for both of them. You can listen for both focus and the blur. So if you want to listen for focus too, then that means you have to do it on a separate line. So this one is listening for blur and this one is listening for focus. So which means anytime you focus on your input, this is what is going to output out. And anytime you blur, this is what is going to do for you there. So now if I go back to the screen, if I focus now, can you see? You see raster. And if you blur, you see Abdurraqib. If you focus again, you always see raster. But this is what it's always going to do anytime the input is focused. And anytime it is blur, this is what it will always do. And we can use this stuff here to change the color of this our box based on whether the user is inside this side or not. So which is something can you okay? Anytime the user is inside the box, we want to change this into green. But when they are not inside the box, we want it to be this particular color that is there like that. But I won't do that. That is something that you can do as an assignment there like that, because I'm not listening for blur and focus. This is not my this in there. So the one I want to listen for here is this input. And what is this input? This is what you can use to receive whatever the user is typing, because it will always fire this event anytime user type inside the box. Because all this your blur and whatever stuff, they don't care about what you are typing inside the box. So if I type, as you can see, it will not fire anything. The only time it will fire is when you are inside the box. Doesn't care about what you are typing. But how do we do it? So I want to fire the event anytime the user type inside the box, whether it is single character or even if you delete or do anything. As long as you type inside the box, I want to fire the event. So we can now listen for this input event. So let me select the element again, which is going to be this input element, then add event listener. What event do we want to add here? So I want to add inputs. So I want to add input. And what did I want to do when this event occurs? So pass your function that you want to run. And if you want to know about the event that occur, you can receive the info from here. So which I'm going to console log out. So I'm going to console log out this event. And let me see if I can go back to browser. Now, if you click, as you can see, it did not fire because we are not listening for blur again, focus, and at the same time, we are not listening for any blur. But what are we listening for? We are listening for when the user type. Can you see? Anytime you type, it will fire the event. So if I type D, it brings out the event that occurred. And as you can see, the event that occurred here is this input event. And this input event have a lot of things inside it that you can use. One of the things that you need here is this data. Can you see? It's giving us what we type inside the box. So from this data, you can have access to what the user actually typed. And what type of typing are they doing? As you can see, they insert text into your box. So the type of the input insert text, if I press backspace on my key, you see that it will bring another type of. So let me just type Abdul like this, and as you can see, for each letter that I'm typing, it will keep firing this event. So now if I open it, can you see what is there? So this is the last stuff that I typed, and that's what it's showing. It's not giving me the entire text, so it only give me what I typed. But how do you get the entire content? That's another way of doing that one too, by using this your target, which is something I explained last class here. You know, target is the element that trigger the event, and as you can see, it is the input. So on this input, you cannot get its value. I will come back into that one later, but for now, I can clear this L, and if I go back to that place now, you see that the input type is not different. So if you look at the data, I did not type anything, I just wipe out the L. So since I wiped the stuff, that's why it's not showing anything under the data. But if you look at the input type, it is delete content. So which means you actually press this backspace. Anything that can delete content, the input type is going to be delete content. Anything that can insert content inside the box, then the type is going to be this insert text, which is something you can use later on to do some magic with your, like, you know, if you go online and they ask you to input OTP, you know, if you clean one box, it will go back to the previous box automatically, not that you will be the one that will go back there. So you can use all this thing to do all those magic, but for now we are just going to do the simple stuff. So what do I want to do? What we want to do here is that as you are typing inside this box, we want to be having everything you are typing on this line. So, and how do you get what the user is typing? To get what the user is typing, you can listen for this input event, because it will always give you whatever the user is typing there. So if the user type L, as you can see, you are going to get L. If the user type A, you are going to get A. If the user type U, as you can see, you are going to get U, because this U here now, it's giving us. So if the user type backspace, then you are going to receive none. So which means nothing is being typed at all, like that. And what if I type space and I have raster like this? It will keep firing for each one of them. For each letter that you are typing inside the box, it will always fire the event. So it's not less for you to listen for it and pick whatever you need. Can you see? So there, when I type space, as you can see, it is space. I type R, it gives me that R. So after typing the A, it gives me this A. I have access to S and I have access to T. And we can use this thing now to just input whatever the user is typing here into this place. And how do we do that? So we need to receive what the user typed, the letter that the user typed at that moment. And how do you get the letter that the user typed at the moment? That's the reason why you see that I'm console log, like this console log is coming out, because on this event that I call, the JavaScript is actually giving us this object here, which is this data, and the data is what that you are going to use to get the current text that the user type. So if the user type A, in order for you to get that A, you just come to this data and you have access to it. And how do you have access to it? Don't forget, it's coming from this event, and on this event we can have access to this data on it. So if I save and go back to the browser now, you see that every time we type from here, we only see what we are typing on the console. So if I go back to this box, type R, as you can see, R is showing the console. A, so as you are typing, it will keep giving you whatever value that you are typing. But we don't want to be showing it here. We want it to appear on this screen, which is inside this box here. And how do we do that? You know this one already. I don't even need to do this. This one's supposed to even be classwork. So what do I need to do now to put it inside that box? So since you already have the data, so this is the data we want to show. Let me just say text is this one. So we have access to the text. So how do I put it inside this box? What do I need to do to put the text here instead of this console log here? So what do I need to type to put it here? As I type it from here, then it's going to appear here. So what do we need to do? Because what I need to use now, we've talked about it and we have been using it since. So what do I need to do to make sure that that thing appear inside that H2? What do I need to do? Hello?
So I'm using.
Yes, what do I need to type here now? I want to put it, look at it, if we have access to the two of them. This is it. This is the element. This is where we want to show it. But what do I need to type here so that the text will appear inside this box, inside this H2 here. What do I need to type on this line? What do I need to type? Talk.
Results.
Cons results. Yes, I'm following you. It's whatever you mentioned I'm going to type. So cons results. And
Then you have your
when you want to put a content inside element, what do you use? Let me start from there. When you want to put the content inside element, what do you use from JavaScript?
inner
You want to change the
HTML.
content. So why are you not saying cons here? So which means here now what we're supposed to use is that results dot inner HTML here is going to be whatever the text that we are getting from here. You know what we say we want to do is to replace the content that is here with the text that the user is typing. So and how do you replace the content that is inside this one? You use your inner HTML and we are setting it. Now when you call this one without set, it will give you the value. But when you are using this operator here, it will change the value to whatever you have on the right. So which means that is still a problem. We've not solved the problem yet because this is not the final solution. So if I go back to the screen, yeah, if I type A now, as you can see that the A appeared there. But there's a problem. What I type here is Abdul. But look at what is showing. It's showing only the last letter that we type. Why is it doing like this? Why is it doing like this? So this is how you know this, you should be able to answer all these questions. You cannot answer all these questions. And these are simple stuff because we've talked about it. I even mentioned this thing particularly. This particular stuff, I talked about it. So why is it not giving us all the stuff that we type here? It's only giving us the last one. Why?
The data. Stuff.
Why is it? Look at it now. I type raster, but it's only giving me the last one. It's not giving me everything.
Yeah, it's not really the full data.
What is happening there is that I told you that anytime you're using inner HTML, it will wipe off whatever that is there before with the new stuff that you're putting inside it. For example, here now, assuming I have this text here, I have this Abdul Rakib like this. So I have this Abdul Rakib. This is the content from the HTML. You are going to see Abdul Rakib, right?
Yeah.
So anytime you are using inner HTML to update the contents of any element, it will remove, no, I told you before, it will remove everything that is there before. It doesn't add to the end of what is there. It will remove everything and replace it with the new one that you are placing there. Which means here now if I type A, can you see now? It removes everything that we type from the HTML and it replace it with this one. And that's what is happening here too. Anytime you are using inner HTML, it doesn't preserve what is there before. It will remove it and just replace it with whatever you put inside it. But we still want to maintain what is there before. How do we maintain what is there before? We can use this operator here, which is plus. And what am I doing on this line? No, I've explained this one before when we are talking about operator. So what is happening on that line is the same thing as this. So result dot inner HTML is the same thing as whatever that is there before, like this. Whatever that is there before, then we are now adding it to the new stuff that we want to put in. That's what this line 57 and line 60 are the same thing. But why am I using plus here? Don't forget, when you are dealing with string, what is going to happen with plus? It will do what?
Add this together.
So it will join them together. It's not add, it will join them together. So which means here now, it will receive what is there before, then add the new things that you have. But this one too will not solve our problem. This is one way of solving. That's why in JavaScript we have different ways of solving. This is one way, but this one now is not totally solving our problem. I will still bring another way of solving it, and that's the JavaScript thing. But that's one thing about JavaScript. We have different ways of solving a particular problem. So the one you now work with is depending on the one that actually solve all your problems. Because one of them can solve a particular area of your problem and it will not touch the other one. But you are going to see that this one is not solving everything for us for now. So let me just save it, go back to the but there's going to be a problem. I'm doing that in twice, so which means it's going to be duplicating the text. I need to comment out one of them because they are doing the same thing. So here now, going back to the browser. So here shouldn't have anything like this. So why is it showing that keep again? I thought I've saved this. It should be empty though. Okay, now it's back. So now if I type A, as you can see the A appear. So the next letter that I'm going to type, maybe T, can you see now? Is now showing the two of them. What did we do? You know what is there before is A. We type T. So what this thing is going to do, don't forget this data. The data is giving us the current stuff we type. It's not giving us everything. This text here is only giving us, let me console log it out so that you see what is coming back. But it's not giving us all the thing that you type. It's only giving you the last character that you type from the keyboard now that you have inside your input. So here now, if I type A, that's what the data is going to give us. Now, if I type N, can you see? It only gives us the last stuff that we type, not all of them. And since it's not giving us everything, but on the screen here, we want to show them. So what do we need to do? You know the first time that this thing is starting there, the first time that we're having a letter here, we're having it here. So what is here, we want to add it to the new stuff that we are typing here. So if I type N, what it's going to do is that it will pick what is there before, and it will add it to the new letter that we are putting there. And that's what this line is doing. This line is getting what is there before, then concatenate the stuff, that means join it with whatever the new text that is coming here. So if you don't want to use this line, you can use this one. For reading sake, they are still the same thing. They are not doing anything different. What we are doing here is that get the old stuff that is here, and if I want, I can call this in so that you can, so old text, that's what you want. So let me create a variable for that. So old text, and put this one inside it. So what are we doing? Get what is inside this box first. After you get what is there, then now add the new one. Then when you add this new one together, which is something I can put into its own variable too. So this one is going to be new text, if that's what you want, so that I can be clear. So now new text. I hope it's clear now.
Yeah, it's clear. I even understand the first one more than this one.
But this one is more verbose, and no, this one is clearer than the other one because this one now old one. But if you want, I can revert it back to that one. That's what you yeah. So yeah, we are getting what is there before. We add this one to it, but know that addition here now, you know, it's going to be string plus string, and you know that is going to join them together. So once you join them together, we are now setting it as the new value for this one. So when we now get to the screen, you see that the first time you type A, nothing is there before. It will add it to space, and it will add it to nothing, so it's only showing A. But next time now, no, we are now adding Y. What is there before is A. So it will join A and Y together. That's this one you are now saying AY here. So if I type O, what is there before is AY. Then it will now join O to it, because look at it. The first thing it gave us is A. So since we don't have anything here before, it will be only A. The next time we type, it is Y. So we already have A before. So what it's going to do is to join this A plus Y. Then you see it on the screen. The next time that we type, it is O. So this thing is there before, AY. So what do? We now join this AY with this O, and that is why you see that is showing here. Again, if I want, I can put space, raster, Abdurraqib, because it will only join whatever that is there before to the new stuff we are typing. Don't forget, this thing is giving us each letter we are typing, not everything that is inside this box. And that's where this thing can now cause trouble, because this thing can cause trouble for us. And where is this trouble going to come in? Let's delete what is here. Can you see what is not showing as we are deleting? But you know we don't want to show null. Can you see what is that doing? And again, if you type now, can you see? As you are deleting, no, don't forget it is a string. When you join string together, it will concatenate them. And that's what it's doing. This null, it converts it to string. After converting it to string, it's now joining. But look at the input. This is what we have. But you know the input we have here now is not matching what we have here again. And this is the problem with solving problem in JavaScript. We have different ways of solving a problem, but you need to go with the one that totally solve whatever you are trying to do. This thing, it works, but it did not work for everything that we want. It's not working when you use backspace. The only time you have problem with this method, with what I just did now, this, let me just, can you see now? The only time you have problem with it is when you use backspace. But you can actually look for it, or you can actually solve this problem too by using our conditional statement there, because we know that Anytime you press backspace, this is going to be null. So what you can, one way of solving this problem here, please, so because this is how you'll be doing this thing. When you detect a problem, the next thing you do is how do I solve the problem? One way of solving this problem is by checking if this thing is having data or not. If it's having data, you want to do this. If it's not having data, you don't want to do anything. So what do we want to do? Here now, instead of us just setting it like this, what we can do is to use this our condition again. If so, if there is a text, so this one will return true or false, whether it is okay. And by now, you know, null is false value. Now I mentioned all those false value that time when we were talking about boolean. I said false, zero, null, undefined, any and all of them will return what? False. And any other value will return true. So which means when we press backspace, you know this thing is going to be null. And since it's null, you know this condition will now be false. And since it's false, it means it will not do anything here. The only time it will work is when you type anything that is not false. So which means there is still going to be a problem too when you are using what? Zero. No, that means you cannot type zero because it will see zero as false. That JavaScript, you'll be moving from one problem to another one and you keep solving them. And that's the beauty of this thing because what is this thing that you just finish it within 1 minute? What are you going to be doing for the rest of the 20 something hours? So, or what are you going to be using your time to do? That's why you see that developer, it take a lot of time before you do, because as you're solving a particular problem, you start seeing other things coming out. Then the next thing you think, how do I solve this problem? And the thing is just going to be in a loop like that. And you don't get tired because you don't burn out. That's what used to scatter the beginners. They're like, why is this thing not working? That's not your, as this thing is not working, the next thing is how do I solve this problem? That's the next thing they have to think of. Then all the tools that you have are there, you start putting them together to solve the problem. No, here now it will work. This is the area. If I press backspace, as you can see, it did not change. But again, you see that the content here now is not matching what we have here, because what we have inside the box is this is the, but here now we have this is the area. So which means that one solved the problem of backspace. It did not solve the problem of you synchronizing the what, the value. So again, that means that solution now is not working. We need to find another way of solving the problem. Again, too, if you type that yeah, zero work because here is not seeing it as seeing it as a string. But here, if I press backspace, you see clean everything. But if I type, it will still be joining it with what is here. So how do we now solve this problem? Instead of our
So on the console, sir, on the console, it's showing null. You can see it's showing null.
yes, now it will show now, but it will not show here now. We've handled that one already. The only time we want to
Okay.
change it is when it's not null. That's why I mentioned it here. When it is null, it will not do what you have here. And that's why you're not seeing it on the screen again. We've handled that one already. But there's
Okay.
still other problem here. That's what we are talking about. There's still other problem. Let me reload the page. You only solve one problem, but there's still other problem that is here. We type this or the man is here, which is showing here. But now if I press backspace, you know it's showing null on the screen, but
Yeah.
because of the condition that we have here, it will not do anything. Because we said that anytime it is no, we want to what? We don't want to do anything. Just leave the way it is like that. And that's why you see that it's not changing here again. Because I'm pressing backspace. But there's a problem. The problem here is that the text here is not matching what we have here again. Because what we have here is the man. But what we have here on the display is the man is here. So where is this is here is coming from? Because here now inside the box, this is the only thing we have. The same thing is supposed to be here. So which means the solution now that we have is on solving our problem. How do we do this thing again? You keep thinking. And that's the thing about JavaScript. You know, when we started with this thing, if you look at the text that I put there, I said JavaScript, home of what? Thinking and what? Headache. Because that's what you always do. You think. Here you always think that how do I solve this thing? That's the only thing. It's not like CSS or HTML that P is always P, H1 is always H1. No, here you can do things a different way. So we started with this method here by just changing the text. But we noticed that anytime we press backspace, the stuff is not working correctly. We solve that one. After that one again, we notice that when you press backspace, the text here is not matching what we have here. But how do we solve this one? The simplest way of solving this thing, instead of us using this method, like getting the data directly like this, is there a way for us to actually get the entire stuff that we type, not getting the letter? You know, if I type T, it's only giving me T. It's not giving me everything. If I type A, it's only giving the last character that you type, not everything that is inside the box. But there should be a way for us to get everything that is inside the box, not the character that we type last. So how do we get that? We can actually do it by talking to this input to give us everything that is inside it. But this input knows what to type inside it, and it has access to all of them. So we can now talk to it to give us everything that is inside it. So how do you ask for everything that is inside your input? It's simple. Just call the input, whatever the element, which is the input there. On it, we have this stuff there known as value. So this value is whatever that you type inside that box. Everything that you type inside the box is what the value will always give you. It's not just the last one you type. Everything that is inside the input, it will always give you there. So which means here now, let me go back to the page. You see that if I type D, as you can see, I'm getting everything, not just the last. You know, when you are the first one, the one we are doing is this one. It's only giving us the last character. But when you are using value, it's giving you everything that is inside that box. So which means instead of us using this one here, what we need to use is actually this input dot value. So here we don't even need all this one that we are doing. What we just need to do here is to do results. The inner HTML like this should just be whatever that the value that is inside input. So this value or your input will always give you everything. It is constant. The value here, anytime you call it on any input, it will give you everything that is inside it. It's not giving you the last one or the first one or the middle text that you type. It will give you everything. So which means here now, whatever we have inside our box, just replace this one. You know, you don't need to do concatenate because it's giving you everything already. So there's no need of you just doing plus or joining them again like that. So here, what we can do now, come back to the screen. This is the man, and if you clean, as you can see, it's happening there too, because everything that is inside the box, that one is giving us. So this is my text coming from the event of the page. Where are you going to make the changes? I want it to be italics. Don't forget we are using what? We are using inner HTML. So which means this thing should convert it for us, right? So if I type Abdul Rakib, then close the EM, can you see what happened? Look at what I typed. Look at what is coming out. So that's if you want your EM2 to, you know, what we type here is this. We actually type EM. But when you get to the screen, what is it showing? It interprets it as what? HTML code. And I've already explained this one. So let me copy all the text so that I don't need to start typing, or let me even leave it like that. I will just. So in order for you to see all those angle, whatever stuff, you don't want it to interpret it for you. So instead of you using this inner HTML, what can we use here? You need to use inner text. Because if you use inner HTML, once you see any HTML code in your text, it will interpret it. And that's what is going on here. So you know EM is going to make your this thing to be in italics, your text. But we don't want it to interpret this thing for us. Whatever we are typing here, we want to see everything. So in order for it to show everything for you, instead of inner HTML, you need to use text. You can see from one problem to another problem, and you keep solving each one of them as you are detecting the problem. Not that you just jam pack everything together. So here now, this is another thing that we need to fix. And from there, we can go back to the page. Now, if I type I, as you can see, the way I'm typing it, that's the same way it's showing on the screen, because inner text doesn't convert anything to HTML. Whatever you type, that's what you are going to see on the screen. So as you're typing, it will always give you back what you type there. And from there now, we are able to handle this, our minimal application. Any question?
No question,
Any
sir.
question? What did we do here? We- The where are you? Where are you? Where are you? We're at where is this place? Greek. So where are you? We were at Greek. So where are you? This is what we have here. We have the element. Look at it from, because you need to understand what is going on from the HTML too. This is our application here. This is the structure. So we have this div with this class application 2. We have this h1, which is the message that you are seeing there, handling user input events. Then we have this h2, which is where we are going to put in whatever you are typing from this input. And again, we have the input where you are going to actually type the text. So what do we want to do? What's the goal of this application? The goal of the application here is that anytime you type from here, we want to display it here. Now, when you load this page for the first time, you are not going to see anything inside this box. But whatever you are typing from this side, we want it to display here live as you are typing. So as you are typing it from the box, you are seeing the result here instantly. So if I type D, I will see D there. If I type man, I will see man there. So how are you going to do this? So we need to listen for an event, because as you are typing from your input, the browser is going to fire an event, different events, a lot of events here is going to be fired, but you can listen for any one of them that you want to use. And currently here, the only one that we are listening for from our JavaScript is this input event. I told you there are different events you can listen on your input. We have this input, we have change, we have key up, we have key down, key press, click, focus, and blur. And I've already shown all this one to you when they are going to fire. But the one that we're actually looking for is when the user is typing, we want to get what they are typing at that particular time. And how do you get it there? We can use this input here. So what we are saying is that anytime someone inputs something inside the box, we want to fire the event. Which event are you trying to fire there? This one here. We want to do this magic here. So everything that is inside this place, we want to do it anytime the user fired or anytime the browser fired this event. And when is the browser going to fire the event? Is when the user type inside the box. So when the user type inside the box, we have access to the event that occur. And what we did first is that on this event, we have data. And what is data? Data is the each key that the user type. So if you type A, it will give you A. Next time you type Z, what you get inside this data is the last character that you type. So if you go back to the screen, if you have to look at it based on what we have now. So if you data is going to be this, if it is the last text there. So this is the data. It will only be giving you each one of the data, not all the text that is inside the input. And that is when we have their problem when we started with that method. So we are getting what is inside data, and that we are now putting it inside this our inner text. But we notice that this thing, if you click backspace, the text is not going to be the same thing again, because as I cleaning from this your input, we are not doing anything with the text inside the box. So we see that that solution will not work. And which other solution that we now resolve it to? We are now using this value on the input, because value on input will give you everything that is inside it. But when do you want to get what is inside it is when the user types something inside the box. So when the user types something inside the box, it will fire this event. And once we fire this event, it will run everything that we have here. And what are we doing? We are setting the value that is inside this result. What is the result? Look at it there. We've targeted this or our element, which is this result. So you just need to go back into your HTML, look at the element that have that class. And which element? It is this h2. So which means this h2, we want to modify its content to whatever the value that you type inside the input. And that's what is here. But when we started with this thing, what we are actually using is inner HTML. And it works, but anywhere you type HTML code, it's going to interpret it for you instead of showing it. No, we said everything that you type here, we want to show it there. But now if I type this I, you see that, can you see what it's doing? is converting it to HTML code. Everything that we type here now is not showing. It has already converted it to HTML code. But that's not what we want. And that's the reason why we change this one to inner text. Because inner text doesn't care about HTML code that you're typing. It will just output everything the way you type it. So if I return this one back to inner text now and go back to the screen, you see that whatever you are typing here, that same way is going to show on the screen, which is what we want to do here. Like anything that you're typing here, everything that you're typing here, we want to see it here. As you're typing here, it will keep coming out here, and it's not going to interpret anything for us. And if you clean anything here too, you see that it cleaned it here too. If I clean it again, as you can see, as I'm deleting from here, it's deleting it up there. So why is it doing like that? It's because we are using this input value, because value will always give us everything that is inside that box, not just the last letter that you type. It's giving you everything that you have inside that input, and it only do it when this event is fired. And that's what we just did. Nothing much there. So your own now that you need to work on here. So this, I want to challenge you. I want to challenge you. I want to challenge you. So what you need to do here, as you're typing from here, there's going to be a counter down here. There's going to be, just like, like Twitter now. As you're typing, the thing will tell you that you've already typed this number of character out of this character. I think it's how many now, sir? Is it not 200 that we are many?
Yeah, it's
Then
100.
let me see.
If your page is not verified.
Yeah, so that's what I want you to work on now. Where is it? So let me bring out the UI so that you see how it looks like. Text count UI. No, this to be input text count UI. I'm going to see how it looks like so that you see how you are going to put the UI there. Yeah, so look at it. This is going to come as like no. Where is it? So let's start with this simple. Look at it yourself. This is the one I actually want, but this is the simple stuff. The one I actually want, I saw it now. Yeah, this is what I'm looking for. Can you see what it's showing? Like that. See that it shows 15/280. 15 here is the current one that the user type, but the maximum is what? 280. So as the user is typing, this one will be counting the total number of text that they typed. So if you type 1, then it will be 1 out of 200. If you type the next letter, then you know it will increase it. And if you clean, this is simple. It's simple. It's really, really simple. What you need to do here, this is a int. What you need to do here, on the page, you need to have the element. So you need to have the stuff, which you can just do like this, like P. Then here you are going to have the span. So you are going to have the span. This is the first one. Then after this span, but why did I use span? It's because we want to update the stuff without touching the P. So yeah, or if you want, you can do it directly from JavaScript without even doing this one. So what you just do here, by default it will be 0/200 like this. But from JavaScript, you'll be updating this stuff. So you delete everything that is here and you replace it with the count of whatever the user typed. So this is going to be from the HTML part. So it's that less for you to start updating that counter there like that. So let me go back to this stuff. So as you can see, I have it. So now as I'm typing, your goal now is to update this 0 to the length of whatever that the user typed, or the count of whatever the letter that the user typed. So now, including the space, because space too is part of the character, because it's counting everything together. So which means here now, if I remove space, this, after typing this value here is supposed to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this one is supposed to have changed to 5. So as the user is typing, you keep increasing the stuff. So I'm going to send this file like this. Now I started with the stuff already. The counter is there. But your own now is to update this value. And that's how you learn. You challenge yourself. JavaScript, you challenge yourself. So it's not that you don't. It looks simple, but when you get there, you see that it is actually simple. So that's how it is. So that will be all. Let me forward this stuff. Let me stop the video.